have rinsed our kefir grains, and I'd like to show you what these grains look like. If you have healthy grains, they're going to look very plump and squishy. And again, if they're healthy, they're going to be growing. They're going to multiply in size. So you better have some friends that you can share them with, or your refrigerator might look like mine with plenty of jars of kefir grains hibernating in there. Okay, we have our nice fermented drink here, and we are going to put it in a glass container to put in the refrigerator. But you have an option. You can put this through a second fermentation if you wish. It doesn't have any of the grains in it, but I'm still going to leave a little room for burping air, because there still is some residual grains, and they will want a little bit of sugar if we're going to do a second fermentation. So I'm going to use some organic frozen cherries that I've got on hand. I love putting berries in here to flavor it a little bit and also do that second fermentation. There we go. Now what I want to do is put a cap on that. And instead of putting it in the refrigerator to drink, I'm going to leave it on the counter for a couple days, 1 to 2 days. And it'll go through that second fermentation. Make sure you have a little bit of air in there because we're capping it. Capping it is going to allow for some natural carbonation effect, so you have a fizzy soda. We'll set that aside, and I cleaned the jars so that we can start our next fermentation. The first thing we want to do is add a 1/4 cup of sugar. Organic sugar, cane sugar, is important. If you want to use something like coconut sugar, that is fine, but always have the base being cane sugar, and you can mix in some other sugars if you'd like. Then we're going to add a little bit of molasses. The kefir grains love molasses. If you find that your grains are not growing and they're not fermenting within 4 to 5 days, give them some molasses and just watch them get healthy. They just love it. And we're running kind of low on this molasses, so I'm going to set that upside down. Let that drain a little bit. We're going to dissolve this sugar in a little bit of hot water. I'm just going to shake that up. It's not going to dissolve completely, but that's okay. Dissolving the sugar is kind of an optional step, but I think it keeps the grains nice and healthy. I'm not going to put the grains into hot water. So what I'm going to do is add a couple ice cubes to cool it off. You don't want to put the grains into very cold or very hot water. Now I'm going to fill this with pure drinking water, about this full, leaving some room for the grains. Be right back. We have plenty of room for the grains. We'll go ahead and we'll add this molasses in. Now that I got it started. And I'm just going to drizzle it in a little bit. This is optional, so how much you put in isn't going to matter much. And if you're ever not ready to start this process over again, but you know the grains are starving, they don't have any more sugar, you could add some molasses in the jars and let them, give them food for a couple days until you're ready to do this process again. Okay, so time to add the grains. So I'm going to add about 3/4 cup. It's about 3 of these per jar. You don't have to add that many if you don't have that many grains. But mine's going to ferment a little bit quicker if I put more grains in. If you don't have any grains to start with, start asking around. People that make kefir soda are happy to share their grains with you, because they multiply so quickly. All right, so there we have it, and we have a little bit of room for air for the burping. I like the closed fermentation process with the lid on. You can do it with some cheesecloth just to protect it so nothing gets in. But I like it to get a little bit fizzy, so I like the closed lid. Now what I'm going to do is put a label on here. I'm going to put the day of the week so that I remember when I made it. And then I'm also going to strategically place this so that I can see how much the grains grow. Right now they're coming up to about there, so I can see them grow after a few days. And then I will put a dish towel over this to keep direct sunlight out, and I will put them on my counter in a nice, warm, dark spot. And then I'll check it in about 4 or 5 days, see if they've grown. I'll taste it, smell it, see if there's any sugar left in there. And I don't want them to starve, so I'm going to start this process over again. And if you would like to hibernate, you're getting too many grains and you don't want to start another jar, you can fill a jar full of grains and sugar water. Put about a ½ cup of sugar instead of a ¼ cup. And then you can put that into the fridge and it'll last for a few months in there. They'll hibernate, so they're not going to be eating the sugar very much. And there you have it. Water kefir soda. Cheers.